You are now.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam, Sir.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
Okay, we meet again, today, this morning, through Big Blue Button. This is our second meeting in designing learning through digital media. How many students are there now? Have you all come? 29, yeah? I think there are several students, who haven't logged in to Big Blue Button. Okay, have you all recorded your attendance?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Already, sir.
Okay,
sir.
okay, good. Yeah, and please tell the other students who haven't logged in or joined in this session. Please tell them to do so. Yeah, because it's already 17 minutes from 8 o'clock. Yeah. Okay, our topic today is digital media for digital media for learning. Digital media for learning. Okay, thank you, Siti Awalia, for reminding me to record the meeting. Okay, today's topic is digital media for learning. So there will be two presentation, talking about this topic, digital media for learning. The first is uh, from Martin F. and Petrus A.K. 2009. The title of the book is Digital Media Design Theories and Principle in Digital Media for Learning, page 17 to 32. So this is an article, or chapter, chapter in a book, this published by Springer, and then the second one is from Churchill, Churchill D, the title, it is a book, Digital Resources for Learning, it is published also by Springer, and it is, the references is quite updated, one is from 2019, last 2 years or last years, because this is just the beginning of 2021, while Churchill is published in 2017, so this is still current, to discuss, okay. So we have two groups, if I'm not mistaken, is that correct? We have two groups for presentation today.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
group 1 and group 7,
Sir.
Yes, sir.
okay. So we'll do it this way, so we'll have presentations, kita presentasi dulu, so both groups will present, both group will present, first group 1 will present first, and then it will be continued with presentation from group 2, and then after that we'll have a question and answer session. So other groups, uh, other groups, group 2 to group 6, group 2 to group 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 will prepare questions, so every group at least present or later will ask 2 questions to each group, So every group will present 4 questions. 2 for group 1 and the other 2 for group 7. The other groups, group 2 and until group 6, they will type their questions, Pertanyaannya akan mereka ketik in the chat column, in the chat box, Mereka akan ketik di sana, and then group 1 will answer them one by one, and then continue to group 2. Also, they will also answer the question one by one, So every group will have 10 questions, 10 questions to answer, and overall 20 questions to be discussed later. And after the question and answer session, we'll have a wrap up session, Okay. Is it understood? Is the way of presentation understood by you all?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So who will be the moderator for group 1?
I will be the moderator, sir.
Group 1, Siti Awalia, Okay, I'll make you the presenter, So you could display your presentation slides, Siti Awalia. Okay, Siti Awalia, now you can display, You can display your presentation slides. Please do so now. Silakan sekarang dilakukan, Siti Awalia. Okay. Okay, now, we could see your slides, I don't know the other. I could see the slides, So the members are Fanny, Indah, Octavia, and Siti Awalia, Okay, now you can start your presentation now.
You are now muted.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Today, we from Group 1 would like to discuss about digital media for learning. First of all, I would like to introduce our members. The first is Fanny Tifano, Ingrid Triana, Octavia Dilustari, and then myself, Siti Awalia Ramadanti. The first material will be delivered by Fanny Tifano. To Fanny Tifano, the floor is yours.
Okay, let us begin this presentation. Firstly, with the definition of multimedia. According to Neo and Neo, as cited in Martin and Batrus 2019, our book, page 3, multimedia is the combination of various digital media types such as text, images, sound, and video into an integrated multisensory interactive application or presentation to deliver a message or information to the audience. We usually use the term digital media synonymously with multimedia, but actually they are different. Next slide, please. So here's the definition of digital media. Digital media can be defined as the digitized content including a variety of the media elements such as text, images, audio, video, or animation. So actually multimedia emphasizes on the combination of different digital media types, and digital media has its own definition like I've mentioned like I've mentioned. And then and then this digital media can be delivered through various solutions such as instructional video, games and simulations, online and mobile courses, and emerging learning environment as Siti Awalia, our member, will explain later. Next slide, please. Digital media can be classified based on their origin and time. Origin here includes whether it is captured from real world, for example, like photos or pictures taken from our camera, and also synthesized by a computer, like when we create a sticker with Photoshop. And then the next is time. Time includes whether it is continuous or discrete. For example, a photo is considered as a captured and discrete, while animations are considered as synthesized and continuous. Next slide, please. And now we will go to the basic elements of multimedia. The first is text. As we know, the examples of text like the documents or memo, letter, and so forth. Text can be written or printed. With so many types of typographical fonts available, printed text can be depicted in different formats in digital media. The second one is image. Image is a visual representation of content, and images can be captured as a photo or synthesized by the computer as graphics. So, and the next is audio. Audio is sound that is recorded, transmitted, reproduced, or created in frequencies that can be heard by the human ear. So, as we know that the example of a audio is like audio or in our listening audio for TOEFL test, song, and so forth. The fourth is video. Video is the recording and reproducing of moving visual images. It could combine a sequence of images to form a moving picture. So the example of video is like film. And then the last is animation. Animation is the manipulation of digital images to create moving images. Like as we know, the example of animation like SpongeBob, Naruto, and so forth. And then the next part will be explained by my partner.
Okay, now it's been passed. The next material will be delivered by me about digital media solution. So in this part, we will review about five different digital media solution. While digital media can be classified into various types, we will classify this into following five types: the first is instructional video, instructional simulation and games, online learning, mobile learning, and emerging learning technologies. So the first is instructional video. Video in general has become more and more popular in recent years. Instructional video has gained in popularity, especially with the increased accessibility of video creation tools, depending on the source and delivery method. Recently, there has been emphasis on getting video out fast, as this has become high priority, especially for young learners. Nonetheless, there remains a healthy appetite for high-quality, well-produced instructional video, especially in professional setting and formal education setting. So there are several advantages for instructional video. First is suitable for all age, means that this kind of way of studying is suitable for all age because it could be customized and differentiated between the instructional video for adult, teenagers, and children. For example, like YouTube Kids for children under 12 years old. And then the second is to motivate students to study and give them new ideas. As we know that learning through instructional video requires the instructors to make the video as interesting as possible to get students' attention to the creativity which the instructor did in their videos. Could be motivate the students to study because they think it will be fun and they will have a lot of new ideas pop up from the video they watch. And then the third is the variation of language and culture will be very well. Nowadays, there are already subtitles in instructional videos, so it will help the students to understand the instructional video in their language. But there are also disadvantages such as it's hard to be understood because the students will just watch the video. It will be hard for them to understand without the guide of the teacher directly. And then the still videos for lesson material are very rare. For example, if you're looking for a linguistic video, it will be hard to find the suitable materials for the suitable videos for the material itself. And then after, we have instructional simulation and games. It has if used properly, it will be a very powerful learning tool. Like other media, the most important thing is to first determine whether or not the simulation or game is aligned with instructional goals. Instructional simulation and games do an especially good job of motivating and conveying emotion. And if facilitated properly, they can excel into promoting empathy in learner. Furthermore, games and simulation very naturally create narratives for the player. The most important narrative being about the players themselves, specifically about what they learn while playing and how they can improve. So it has several benefits. The first is increase students' brain stimulation. So gaming is a really good workout for your mind disguised as fun. Studies have shown that playing video games regularly may increase brain matter in the brain and boost brain connectivity. Gray matter itself is associated with muscle control, memories, perception, and spatial navigation. And then the games could develop student problem-solving skills. Open world, mission-based, and multi-level games are designed like complex puzzles that take several hours to solve. Occasionally, the solution varies based on your action in the game. Learning to think on your feet and strategize in a fast-paced fantasy environment is a skill that can translate into the real world. One long-term study published in 2013 showed that children who played strategy-based games showed an improvement in problem-solving skills and this tended to get better grades. And then it is fun way to learn and stress relief. As what I already explained in the increased students' brain stimulation, it is actually a study but disguised in fun. So video games can have mental health benefit such as it can boost mood and make better for heart rhythms, a sign that also help relieve stress. And then the correlation between video games and stress has been reflected in numerous related studies in which is why video games have been used intensively for over the decade. It is also a fun way to get tricked into learning. Today, there are already games that incorporate world history, cooking, politics, chemistry, and others that may have not been exposed to school. So it's a very good way to learn. But we already know that video games and simulation could cause addiction, and it is hard to afford because the cost is quite expensive. And then online and mobile learning. Online and mobile learning actually quite same. Because of the popularity of the internet, online learning is no longer an innovation that has become the norm, especially with the increase in online courses that are offered various sectors in key curriculum 13 and higher education. So while the mobile learning, it could be used in smartphone and tablets because of the development of technology nowadays. So with Wi-Fi data, website and application can be accessed easily, and it could be included in variety of digital media. So, what's the advantages of those? The first is it is very convenient, as what I already said, because it is mobile and easy to bring. The students could learn everywhere and at any time. And then there are a lot of variety and programs for learning, as there are already many developers who create programs for learning. And then it is saving time and cost because we don't need to go to school or institution to study. We could save the time for going there and also the cost, of course. And it is very flexible, as what we need to learn, we could search it online, or we could ask for the guidance from teacher whenever, as long as it is an appropriate time. And then the disadvantages is first, technology issues, such as blackout could make the signal or the connection from the online learning itself gone. So it is very hard to get online when it is blackout. And of course, there are also bugs that could make it harder to go into the facilitation in online learning. And then the second is no social interaction, because it is very much individual. They will lack of social interaction. They will prefer to be an individual person, such as they could already get the education they need individually by home. And then cost on affording the media use. The media such as quota and the laptop is quite expensive to cost, and it will be hard affording the media if the students have a problem in their economy. And then the lack of discipline, because of the easy way of learning in online, the students will think lightly of mobile learning and online learning. They will wake up late because they think, oh, I don't need to go to the school, so I could just waking up 15 minutes before the class start. Or they do not want to take a bath because it is just by online learning, and they don't need to meet the teacher and the other students. And so the last is emerging learning technologies. It is actually the emerge of the what I already explained before. When working with digital media, it is important to keep up with trends in digital media. So oftentimes you have solve or replace the functionality of older techniques. Not all new school is good. It's important in technology, reality, artificial intelligence. The idea that we can be or facilitated by that are learning on hope and some issues of data security or cautionary tales already. The next method present my
Okay, the next slide, please. Okay, I will explain about creating, using, and managing digital media. Existing digital media can also be both of the self-customized and utilized. Hence, like Januszewski and Molenda state, Association for Educational Communication and Technology defines educational as an ethical practice of appropriate technology researches. Digital learning performance, like the first creation. When creating a digital media solution, it can go through an entire systematic process of analysis, design, development, implementation, and evaluation. And the second one is using. When using digital media, a true evaluation of existing learning products must be conducted before adoption or customization. And the third one is management. Management is involved in digital media creation and using. This refers to process used to create and use digital media and could involve models such as ADDIE, rapid prototyping, AGILE, SCRUM, or Scrum Waterfall Model, and the BSCS 5E instructional model. The next slide, please. There are some best practice for creating and using enriching educational experiences through digital media. First is focus on learning goals. Including measurable learning goals provide clear direction and expectations for learning outcomes. And the second one is use concise text. Avoid the use of extraneous or irrelevant text, audio, and visuals. Keep text simple and concise, and use high quality image. Presenting instruction with image or graphic is more effective than presenting text alone. And next, make the design consistent. Font choice, colors, graphics, and navigational elements should harmonize and have repeat themes throughout. And the next, use user-friendly navigation. User-friendly interfaces assist the learner to navigate through the application with confidence and easy. And the next, use audio and video to create an immersive learning experience. Using realistic visual design with appropriate audio enhance the transfer of knowledge, providing an immersive learning experience. And next, include interactive practice activities to engage the learner. Provide opportunities for the learner to practice their new knowledge through interactive activities to reinforce learning. And next, use self-assessments. Using self-assessments enhances self-efficacy and empowers the learner to identify areas to improve. And the last one is closed caption videos or include the transcripts of the narration. Research show that closed caption and transcript are beneficial to learning because it can make the conclusion and make the student more easier about the material. And the next slide will be presented by my partner.
Okay, multimedia competencies for instructional technologies. Multimedia competencies are measurable knowledge, skills, abilities, attitude, and behavior critical to successful job performance for instructional technologists who design and develop multimedia. Next slide, please. Sugar et al. 2007 identified entry-level multimedia production competencies and skills of educational technology professionals, such as being able to operate Flash and Dreamweaver, using image as buttons, creating of nonlinear navigation, sound files, and animation files were key authoring skills. Rizab et al. 2010 identified key multimedia competencies for instructional technologies, included knowledge of critical software tools such as presentation software and screen recording software, oral and written communication skill, and the ability to create effective instructional products. Success in this field means designing and developing multimedia instruction in ways that are applicable and contextualized for the current employment market. In addition to demonstrating malleable technical skills, the practitioner must demonstrate competence in the knowledge and use of a wide range of existing and emerging technologies that address the needs of 21st century workforce. Next slide, please. Benefits of using digital media. First, ease of use. Digital media are generally easy to use and be integrated into existing present in various formats such as cell-based, hybrid, or line. Second, digital media provides an immersive experience, especially when built with a lot of interactivity. Third, reach a wide audience. Digital media assists in reaching a large number of learners across geographic boundaries. Easily updated. If digital media is delivered online, the content can be easily updated and shared with the learner. Fifth, digital media can be self-paced. When designed well and effectively, learner can navigate through digital media lesson individually. Cost effectiveness. With the recent rapid digital media development tools in the market, developing select digital media products has become more cost effective. Next slide, please. Challenges and limitation of using digital media. First, lack of interactivity. Some digital media projects are page turner, that is project lacking interactivity that doesn't make learner effective. Second, expense. Some digital media solution can also be very expensive to develop. Third, when digital media is not online, it is expensive to update and share with learners. For example, digital media that is still distributed via CD. And last decade, digital media stopped working after the technology toilets, but video, audio, and text persist and are translated across time and format. Thank you. Back to the moderator.
Okay, now we would like to open question and answer section. There will be
You are
two
now
question and
unmuted.
answer section. Each section will be 5 questions.
Siti Awalia.
Yes, yes, sir.
We'll have the second group first, and then after
Oh,
that we'll
okay, sir.
have the question and answer session. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Group 2. Who's the moderator?
Yes, sir.
Tiara, ya?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Tiara. Tiara. Okay, Tiara, now you could display your group's presentation slides?
Can you see my screen?
Okay, now you could start the presentation, please.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, we are from group 7. We are going to discuss about educational reforms, learning-centered education, and digital resource for learning. First of all, let me introduce our group members. They are Atik Dian Fadilah, Eta Cinta Hati Sihotang, Azahra, Brigita Elra, and I, Tiara Aliatanza, as a moderator. Okay, first material will be explained by Azahra. For Azahra, time is yours. Azahra, can you start the presentation?
Romat ngapi yang aja nah.
Okay, so can you hear my voice? So sorry, sir, I have bad connection. Okay, the first is we have introduction to digital resources for learning. So this first chapter of introduction material is to answer what are effective digital resources
You are
for
now muted.
teaching and learning, and how such resources can be designed, developed, used, and reused and managed in the process of the classroom. So these first chapters introduces us to on how to take the benefit of digital resources in the for mediate the students to help in the process of learning and teaching. Next slide, please. And there is a more specifically the purposes of the goals. The first is to guide. Okay, so sorry. The first is to guide for the development of digital learning resources, such if the learning process is talking about the science, and of course the functions of digital learning resources in here to help the students to take the more data about it. And the second is about to present a set of practical recommendations for the resources of in educational activities. Of course, in here in educational activities, such recommendations for the resources that we use. It will make both of the students and the teachers will easier to understand the material. And the next is valuable resource for those teachers to conceptualize digital resource for their own teachings. Okay, to make the conceptualize of learning, it will make the wishes from the teachers will be easier. And also the next is it is useful reference. It is useful reference. Okay, I'm sorry, I cannot see it clearly. Oh, wait. Oh my God, so sorry, I have a bad connection. Oh, ya Allah. More, okay. Sorry. More, okay. Valuable resource for these teachers who is no. And the next is useful reference material for digital media publishers and designers of educational resource, as it provides a unique perspective and approach to conceptualization. Why it is a very helpful to for digital media publisher and designers, because on it through digital resources we can find a unique perspective from many people on it. So it can be easily understood by us to know that digital resources is the digital resources directly found by us. And next, the book is useful guide for researchers investigating learning issues surrounding design, development, and use of digital resource for learning. Of course, in this case, the introductions of the learning resources here is we can find that it is related to the issues surrounding here we can find the solution from this first chapter. The next slide, please. Talking about the introductions to the learning design resources, of course, there is a lack of understanding of what digital resources for learning. In this case, sometimes teachers do not know on how they have to do, whether they have to do something that it is not related to learning resources, digital resources, because there are so many platforms of digital that does not provide learning tools and teaching tools. So it is very needed to understand from the teacher itself as a tutor to teach in the classroom. So and also the development of the curriculum. So why the development of the curriculum is a very give the big impact to the lack of understanding, because why there are so many lessons, so many lesson plan that maybe it is teacher will think does not have related to digital resources. In other hand, if the teachers or the tutors can make it have relations, of course, like maybe we talk about digital resources like the internet, that maybe we do not know it can be learning tools or no, but it depends on the teachers on how they make it. And the use of learning and management, of course, as the tutors, as the future teachers, the use of learning and management in here, we have to know that management of time we use the digital learning resources, whether it is useful enough or no. The next slide, please. Next slide, please. Sorry, I cannot see. Next slide, please. I still cannot see the next slide. So sorry. It's still not changing. There. Next. Tiara.
Can't see my screen.
Yes, but it is still the same slide.
Alright. To the slide, but
I don't know why.
It is no, it is still not changing in my.
Stop sharing and then I will share again. Can you see my slide now?
No,
No? Oh my
still
God.
loading. Yes, now I can see.
Slide 5, right? This
10
one?
no. Yes. So the next is about digital resources for learning are best described as the technology-based multimedia content specifically designed for educational and training purposes. Why it is why this text is written that the best described as a technology-based multimedia because in this era, in this 21st century, uh, we are as a teachers from this book to make us realize that through using the technology as a resources for learning multimedia, specifically designed for educational, is the best step to make we realize that we have to take the chance. We don't have to take the old style that maybe make us forget about the chance that we have. So digital resources for learning are best described as the technology multimedia as long as we can take benefit from it. If we cannot do it wisely, of course we can make the process of learning and teaching to be masked. So it depends on the human resources on it. So back again on how the students and the teachers doing the cooperations for making the learning, the designing learning through digital itself to be a good in process of learning and teaching. Next slide, please. Okay. So here, there is an illustration example of the effective digital resources for learning. In this case, there are learners are presented to an interactive representations that permits the manipulations of parameters that explorations of relationships. What in this the relationship? So in this example, there are changing of some parameters that cause pollutions and observing effects on climate change. So, or changing parameters related to the migrations of population and observing the impact on regional economics. So, in here, of course, we need the data. We need to solve this case of the problem without saying, oh, this case is about blank blank blank. No, it cannot be said like that. We need the data, we need the correct data from it. So on how the digital resources for learning help it to make it easier. So only presented to interactive representations that digital resources already provides from it. Like the students do not need do the observation first to make sure that the climate change or the migrations of populations and observing the impact of regional economics. No, they don't have because the digital resource already provides it for their teaching and learning. So that's the illustrations on how the effective digital resources help the process. The next slide, please. So In this case, slide is technology can leverage to provide usable data sources used in learning and activities. So we can say that the most effective digital resources for learning are tools that mediate learning activities. So it will be useful if the technology can be used by us wisely. If it is not mediated for us, it is useless. And also, the most effective digital resources for learning are those to design for use and reuse in the context of learning center activities. Of course, if the digital resources are used not for the learning center activities or only for entertain, it is not it doesn't it has no relations to the context of learning itself. So that's the content of my part. The next slide, please. Okay, will be presented by my partner. Thank you.
Okay, I will continue. In this topic, I will talk about digital resources and learning-centered education. First of all, what is learning-centered? Learning-centered is the activity designed for students to be involved in doing assignments, to gain knowledge and experience, and develop that knowledge and experience, so that digital resources can be used by teacher to help them to help them to teach to teach their students. Next slide, please. Okay, as we know, nowadays education need teachers to change or to transform their traditional pedagogical practice, become learning designers, and then to learning-centered pedagogy. Some aspects of teacher-centered practice are contrast to learning-centered practice. We can see in the table below. The focuses of teacher-centered, for the example, like learning of facts and declarative knowledge. But in the focus of learning-centered, the focus is learning of conceptual knowledge. In the teacher-centered is memorizing information, but in learning-centered, working with information and so on. Next slide, please. So how we can transform teacher-centered to learning-centered? Here there are 4 requirements to transform teacher-centered to learning-centered. The first is the approaches to teaching practice need to change from teaching-centered to learning-centered. Here means that teacher also must think about the future of their student. When they graduate, they expected become knowledge workers or creative innovators. And then the second, curricula need to be written explicitly to encounter 3 forms of knowledge: declarative procedural knowledge, and the important is conceptual knowledge. We can see in the table before that in the teacher-centered, the focus just to learn of creative knowledge, but in the learning-centered, the important focus is to learning of conceptual knowledge. The third is teachers should take advantage of time. Nowadays, we know that technology is very developed. Therefore, there are many things to learn and understood. One is how to teach more in shorter time, not just curriculum content, but also knowledge use skill, as well as other knowledge and skill. And then the last requirement, education must consider knowledge and skills essential for today's and tomorrow's generations to be effective participant in society.
Next slide, please. Besides how learning becomes learning centered, here there is a topic talk about digital resources for learning. The first, like I said before, there are three forms of knowledge, which are declarative, procedural, and conceptual knowledge. And when we want to design digital resources, it should be based on these three forms. But digital resources for learning also can be designed to support the development of fundamental concepts that contribute to an essential base of disciplinary and cross-disciplinary knowledge. Second, digital resources for learning also should be designed in a way that support activities where knowledge is created and used not only for the transfer of knowledge content. This means in this context, digital resources for learning can serve as tools that mediate activities where learning occurs and shape learners' thinking and decision making. The third, digital resources for learning should be designed to support activities leading to development of new literacy. This should require learners to apply their literacies, such as visual literacy, media and critical literacy, in order to extract meaning. Next material will be explained by Tiara.
Okay, I will continue at the explanation. After we talk about issue of digital resource, now we talk about the rules of digital resource for learning center. So the first rule is digital resource for learning should supplement, not replace the teacher. So digital resource just support, and then it's not replace a teacher. And then the second one is digital resource for learning should supplement other resource, including traditional resource. For example, like ebooks, for example, like printed books. Digital resource like ebook should supplement other resource like a printed book. So they can use both of them we can use together. It's not replaced, but it's become the supplement of other resource. And then the third one is digital resource should supplement and mediate activities where learning is to occur, not to replace activities or be activities on their own. So digital resource becomes the supplement and mediate the activities. And then next slide, we talk about classification of digital resources for learning. The digital resources has been designed for different purposes, such as entertainment, news, digital arts, commerce, or marketing. And digital resources for learning are designed for educational purpose. So we need to know types of digital resource to support learning process. Digital resource for learning have often been classified according to media types. It refers digital videos, interactive multimedia, ebooks, web page, and other forms. But a more effective approach is to consider forms of curriculum content knowledge and what kinds of digital resource may be the most effective to represent each of curriculum knowledge. That could lead to the development of strategy of teaching. So we need to know some type of digital resource. And then more detail will be explained by my friend Brigitta. Time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Tiara. Now I will continue to explain the question. What kind of digital learning resources can support different forms of curriculum knowledge? And what kind of digital learning resources can be designed to represent declarative, producers, and conceptual knowledge from disciplinary curriculum content? As we can see in Table 1.2, classification of digital resources for learning according to curriculum knowledge content forms primarily indeed to present. There are 5 distinct types of digital resources of learning, that is, which designed to represent a specific form of content or curriculum knowledge. The first classification of digital resources is information digital resource. Second is presentation resource. Third is practice resource. Fourth is concept representation resource. And last is data display resource. Next slide, please. Okay. I will explain about types of digital resources for learning discussed. The first digital resources is information display resource. This digital resources is for learning display information in a variety of modes. Interfaces to facilitate information presentation and use. And this is about creative and effective ways to organize and present information that can be used in learning. For example, like comparison table, a concept map with pop-up information, a case story about some event, and even an e-book and a digital version of a journal article. In learning, learners are using information to assist their completion of an activity. For example, extracting information from an interactive periodic table or a trigonometric table to solve a certain problem-based task. In this case, we are not talking only about how information can be digitized and delivered by technology, but we are concerned with a strategy of how information can be present in the most effective way, supported by the affordance of contemporary representation technologies, that it can be find effective use in activities leading to learning. And the second digital resources is presentation research. This is to present certain information with the purpose of instructing learners and often expecting students to remember or understand the content present. This digital resources is about to present specific declarative curriculum content. This is for learning-centered practice, and the activity is for learning to happen. Therefore, any resource should be designed to support these digital resources. And these resources not designed for the purpose explicitly, but it might still be used with an effective for an activity when carefully integrated to mediate it. And third, digital resources for learning is practice resources. These digital resources is for learning are designed to allow a learner to practice certain procedures, often repetitively, providing some form of feedback leading to an increase in understanding and performance. For example of this digital resource is a drill and practice question item, educational game, and puzzle. Presentation have such of resources integrated in their or in student structure to provide reinforcement and practice. Usually the case with more comprehensive computer-based instructional package, or you can say it by technology. However, having this as a separate resources will have benefits of allowing students to be reused in variety of other digital resources in learning. In variety of learning is related to situation and for different purpose and related to the compression of an activity. Okay, that's all about my presentation, and the next presentation will be continued by Atika and Fadila. Okay, thank you, Brigita. Next is concept representation resource. These are designed to represent disciplinary concepts from a curriculum, their properties, parameters, and relationships that underline generalization to be met or articulated by learners in their learning-centered activities. For example, a concept of velocity invention, reaction time, or right-angled triangles can all be used to assist learners to complete some learning activities. This is an example of conceptual representation resource, exploring trigonometry. This resource is an interactive representation of a key concept from trigonometry, that is a trigonometric circle. A subject matter expert, a mathematics teacher in this case, identified this concept as one of the key concepts in the mathematics curriculum knowledge content. Input different values for angle x and observe changes in the values of sine and cosine as they conduct an inquiry. Next slide, please.
You are now unmuted.
Sorry, Tiara.
You are now muted.
Can you see my slide?
No.
I don't know why it stopped. And I can't share the screen because I can't share the screen because there's no. Okay.
You are now unmuted.
Please continue, Tiara.
You are now muted.
Can you see my slide?
Yes. The previous slide. Yes. Next is data display resources. These digital resources for learning are displays of data that can be used as media inputs in activities leading to learning. Usually there are two elements of such resources. First, data record or some logic for articulation or capture of data, and an interface used to receive that data. This picture shows a screen from a water experiment data display resource. This digital resource for learning allows learners to collect data on factors affecting the quality of water of the imaginary lake presented in the scenario. This data can be used in problem-solving activity that direct learners to act as an environmentalist, investigate a problem situation, and propose a solution to a problem in the form of a report to an environment protection agency. A digital resource for learning of one format might result in other knowledge forms than those initially planned by designer. For example, a presentation resource might result in conceptual knowledge changes if used in an activity for this purpose. However, a digital resource for learning should initially always be designed to represent a specific form of curriculum content. And this is a strategy for the effective articulation of a systematic collection of digital resources to cover curriculum discipline. Next slide, please. Next is the conclusion. To achieve the maximum outcome for education, there is a need for a concerted effort to identify systematic collection of digital learning resources for different disciplines. Developing isolated digital learning resources for a specific topic while omitting other parts of a curriculum should not be an option for the maximum effect on education to be achieved through a digital media resources strategy. The connection that teachers and students build between these resources is an important dimension in overall learning within the discipline. Thank you. That's moderator.
Okay, thank you, Atika. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's all from our presentation. Thank you for your attention. And for the presenters, thank you for your great presentation. And wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Now, the moderator from group 1 is Siti Awalia, ya. Siti Awalia. Mana Siti?
Yes, sir.
Nah, ya, okay. And also Tiara, ya. You could start. Maybe you need some times, ya. Or you will answer right away, or you need time to discuss with your group. Siti and Tiara. Siti. Nah, Siti hilang, ya. Siti's gone, ya.
No, sir. I think we will answer directly.
Okay, you will answer directly, ya. You are the moderator, so you will do the you will moderate the session, ya, for your group, ya. And after that, Tiara will be the moderator for question and answer session for their groups, ya. Okay, Siti Awalia, please, times is yours, ya, your groups.
Okay, now we will answer randomly. So the first question from Yosia will be answered by Indah Tiana. Indah, time is yours.
Okay, the question from group 2. What are the skills that are needed as requirement for the e-learning specialist? The answer is Ricci et al. 2001 listed several multimedia skills as requirement for the e-learning specialist, included applying principles of message design, creating or selecting visual that instruct, orient, or motivate, delivering a presentation that effectively engage and communicate, select appropriate media and delivery system, select or modify existing instructional material, and develop instructional material among several others. Yes, yeah. Did I answer your question?
You are now muted.
Next question, moderator.
Okay, thank you, Indah. So next question from group 3, from Irma and Adit. Both will be answered by Okta. To Okta, the floor is yours.
Okay, I will answer the question from group 2. The first one is, as you have mentioned about interactive practice activities, what are the advantages of interactive practice activities in teaching and learning process? These activities give students the opportunity to organize their own thoughts or can be collected by the teacher to gain feedback from the students. Advantage include developing students' abilities to think holistically and critically and improving their writing skills. And the next question is, can you give example of interactive practice activities? There are some example. The first one is free writing or minute paper or question of the day exercise. These are activities that prompt students to write a response to an open question and can be done at any time during a class. Writing activities are usually 1 until 2 minutes and can focus on key questions and ideas or ask students to make prediction. These activities give students an opportunity to organize their own thoughts or can be collected by the teacher to gain feedback from the students. Advantage include developing student abilities to think holistically and critically and improving their writing skills. And the second example is icebreakers. Icebreakers are low-stakes activities that get students to interact and talk to each other and encourage subsequent classroom interaction. They can be useful at the beginning of the semester, for example, asking students to introduce themselves to each other and what they would like to learn in the course. From group 3, did I answer your questions?
Yes, thank you, Okta.
Yes, you're welcome.
Okay, next question is from group 6 from Indah, Amalia, and Widat. The question is, so you mentioned about the disadvantage of the simulation and games is addiction. Is there any way to reduce the addiction? And then from Widat, are there any way to minimize the disadvantages of instructional video, simulation, and games? So I will answer them directly. I mean, because they have the same point. So to reduce the addiction, the students, the parents, and the teacher itself need to make some consideration about the time. The students need to use the simulation and video games as the way to learn. So if the time is limited, the students will be able to reduce the addiction from the game. And then for hard to be understood, that means the students need more guidance about the material they are learning from the video. A teacher who directly teach them is very needed in that process. While for academic side, it is very hard because it's based on the family itself. Okay, did I answer your question? With that and Indah. Okay, you're good. Okay, next is the question from group 3 from Aulia Gusti. Group 2 from Aulia Gusti will be answered by Okta. And the second question from group 2 already answered by Indah. So Okta, the time is yours.
Okay, I will try to answer from group 2 from Aulia Gusti Army. In your opinion, how can we solve online learning problem? The most problem that we face in online learning is boring. These types, of course, mean that the students often get bored with online learning, and this lack of engagement and motivation is one of the main reason e-learning courses fail. Students are simply not interested in taking the training, do not access the platform, and do not complete the course. To prevent students from getting bored, be sure to find an online course that is interactive, dynamic, and fun. While this may have been difficult in the early days of e-learning, nowadays it is much easier. There are currently a number of providers offering all types of interactive training with challenges and adventures, video storytelling, gamified solutions, simulators to ensure practice and game-based learning. The next problem is the students don't know the course exists. This often happens. You've spent months preparing an online course. You choose the best provider. You know the course is essential for your employees, but nobody in the organization is aware of its existence. If you want your students to really pay attention to you, consider treating the launch of any training plan like the premiere of a Hollywood movie. Give a presentation in the company's largest conference room. Create anticipation using chain emails or place large poster around the class. All this will spark students' interest and you will have created a buzz even before the training begins. Make sure you explain why the training is important for employers and how it will help them to be better professional and better people. Okay, did I answer your question, Aulia, from group 2?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, next question from group 6. I'm sorry. Group 4, I mean. Will be answered by Indah and Fanny. To Fanny and Indah, the time is yours.
Okay, I will answer question from group 4. How effective digital learning in teaching English? In all field of teaching and learning, digital media provide the learners with a great deal of flexibility, allowing them to study at any time from any place at their own convenient speed without worrying about schedule. The students have the liberty to choose what they want to learn and what they don't. When applied to digital learning classroom, it can improve student engagement as well as their interests. So, in short, digital media is effective to enhance the success of teaching and learning process, especially in teaching English. Unila, did I answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, next, I will try to answer another question from group 4. As we know, in doing online and the mobile learning, a problem that we will face is the lack of discipline from the students. So how do you handle this problem, especially for teaching elementary school? Okay. In our opinion, firstly, do not talk about elementary students first, but we as the university students are still likely to be late to join the online class, right? And especially for elementary school students, talking about disciplines like coming to class late, late to submit the homework or exercise given by the teachers. And I think the most suitable solution is giving punishment or even giving reward. I mean here, for example, in case of online class,
You are now unmuted.
Fanny.
Yes, sir.
I couldn't hear your last sentence. Yeah,
Oh, okay, sir.
you are
Is
suddenly gone.
is my voice now is clear, sir?
Okay, yes, please.
Oh,
You are
okay.
now muted.
I think that we can, yeah, the solution is giving the reward or even giving the punishment. I think the most suitable solution for, in this case, for online class, because now we are having, all of us are having online class. For example, if they come to, if a student comes late to class or to is late to join the online platform, we can minus their point. For example, 1 point each day when they come late to class. And then another idea is for elementary students, if they come late to class, for example, A is late today. So we can, as teachers, we can ask him or to sing, for example, by their friends watching, to sing a song, to sing a children's song. So they may feel embarrassed and they may not come late to class again. I think, yes, that's the solution, giving punishment or even reward for the students who are on time and giving punishment for the students who are not disciplined. For group 4, is it clear enough? Hello?
Okay, Fanny, I think you could move to next question from
Okay.
Grayson.
Is my sound clear enough, moderator Siti?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And we just jump to another question from group 5. The question is, in your opinion, is using YouTube is suitable for elementary students? In our opinion, of course, it is very suitable, because in YouTube you can find many contents, many videos that are suitable for elementary students. Since elementary students are young learner, I mean, they will like something attractive in their lesson, in the lesson delivery. They may like the interesting video, funny videos, and yes, they will like something attractive. So we in YouTube we can find many videos related to just science, mathematics, or counting, and uh, and the videos in YouTube may display them, may display or might teach the students in many interesting ways, such as they can display the subject or the lesson in cartoon form, animation, and so forth. And then, but remember, since elementary students are under, I think it is very suitable, but remember, there should be guidance from their teachers. Okay, so YouTube is very suitable for elementary students since there's a guidance from the teachers. Did I answer your question? Group 5. Okay, thank you. Back to monitor.
Okay, thank you for each group for the question, and thank you for my partners for answering the question. The next question and answer section will be group 7's group 7 to group 7. The floor is yours.
You are now unmuted.
Okay, thank you, Siti Awalia. Now let's invite Tiara, yeah, Tiara, as the moderator of group 1. I'm sorry, group 7, yeah. Please, you can start your session, yeah, for answering the question. Thank you.
Okay, start.
You are now muted.
Okay, everyone. We are going to answer question from each group. The first question from group 2. What will you do to have a better knowledge for the digital resource as a learning tool? Will be explained by Azahra. Azahra, time is yours.
Okay, I will answer the questions. Actually, I will answer the questions from group 4 first. It is about, we can see that the most effective digital resources for learning are mediate learning activities. So from this group, ask about, can you explain and give the example how to implement in the classroom? So my advice in here means that can help the process of learning and teaching to be easier to understand by students through using the digital resources. For example, in a classroom, they want to find solutions of science questions about the temperature. Of course, they need the data, and the use of digital resources such as from internet will be very needed in here because it can simply help them to know quickly rather than they to measure the heat temperature directly using a thermometer. It becomes a problem if there is no thermometer in that condition. So we can conclude that in the process of classroom, we can directly see it from the digital resources to know about the of the day or of the condition on it. The group 4, did I answer your questions? Yes. And also, if no, I will continue to the group already about the two group questions about, we can say that the most effective digital resources for learning are tools that mediate learning activities. So can you, okay, sorry. And also, can you hear question? Can you hear my question? Hear my voice? Okay. Okay, I will continue that. The next is about, there is a lack of understanding from the group 2 questions about, there is a lack of understanding of what digital resources for learning. So as the future teacher, what will you do to make you master the digital resources as a learning tool? So there is, I will make sure that I always an up-to-date person to open digital resources. Why? Because with it, I can know so many resources. So I could know, compare, and filter which is better for my learning, teaching in my class. Example, I teach history lesson. I will make sure that I know the information from resources that is up to date. Like we know we have before is 32 provinces, and now it changed to be 32 provinces. So I can say I have to beware from learning digital resources, the information that we can directly know, but the things that we need is to be an up-to-date future teacher. So did I answer your questions? The group 2, maybe? Okay, so back to moderator. I already answered the group 4 and the group 2.
Okay, thank you, Azahra. Now we continue answer the question from group 7. It will be answered by Elra. Elra, time is yours.
Sorry, moderator, but 7 is our group. But I will answer the question from group 4.
I'm sorry.
Okay. The question from group 4 is, what is the example of presentation resources? In the presentation resources, teacher can use PowerPoint, a recorded computer, a noted explanation, a recorded lecture with a voiceover and slides, a computer-based tutorial. But in what happened today, teacher usually use PowerPoint presentation because it is easy to use and it has many features in PowerPoint such as input the video, image, table, and so on. So this is one of the effective way to use the presentation resources. And then I will answer the question from group 3. The question is, group 4, did I answer your question?
Yes, Brigita, thank you.
Okay, thank you. You can continue.
Okay, next question from group 2 will explained by Atika.
Okay, I will answer the second question. Is there any other way to consider classification of learning resources? Another consider classification of digital learning is as the design to represent data, information, or knowledge representation. That is, certain learning objects can be designed to represent each of these forms, such as conceptual representations are designed to represent knowledge, information, and presentation resources represent information, and data display represent data. Did I answer your question, group 2?
Yes, Atika, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Moderator.
Okay, Atika, please continue answering question from group 6.
Okay, from group 6, the second question, what are some analytical functionalities from data display resources? Some analytical functionalities can be included for more effective and useful presentation and processing of data. Usually, a scenario is designed to allow learners to gain some experiences of not just assessing and manipulating data, but also collecting that data in an authentic context. Did I answer your question, group 6? Okay, thank you, back to moderator.
Okay. Next question from group 5 will be answered by Eta.
Okay, I will answer the 5 question. The second question is, in the third requirement, you said that teachers should take advantage of time. How? So, like I said before, in this era with technology, there are many things should be learned, right? So that in this context, we as a teacher or we as a future teacher need to seriously about forms of educational content and how to use that educational content, and how to teach more in a shorter time and depth of understanding, so that we can we as to how we minimize material but maximize learning through active design and uses of resources. And then for the first question is, please more about 3 forms of knowledge. The first knowledge, declarative knowledge. Declarative knowledge also as verbal knowledge or factual knowledge is in that can only be learned through memorization. The words in this knowledge have meaning that you are consciously aware you understand the information. For the second knowledge is procedural knowledge. Procedural knowledge, also known as imperative knowledge, is the type of knowledge that the performance of a task. It's basically how you to do something. And then the last knowledge is conceptual knowledge. This knowledge refers to the knowledge understanding of concept, principles, theories, models, classification, and etc. We learn conceptual knowledge through reading, viewing, listening, experiencing, or thoughtful reflective mental activity. That's all for group 5. Did I back to
6. What types of digital resource? We need to know some type of digital resource like digital books and etc. to support learning process. And when teacher design learning process, the teacher know what is the effective tool that will be used for learning process, and also knowing types of digital resource, we can the strategy. For group 6, did we answer your question?
Yes, Tiara, thank you.
Next question from group 5. Please explain more about 3 forms of knowledge. Will answered by Eta.
Sorry, Tara, I have already explained about it.
I mean, from group, the question is, third requirement, you said that teachers should take advantage of time. So how? Question from Jasmine, please.
Yes, I have already answered that. Okay, it's okay. I will.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, next question from group 3. Answered by Elra.
Okay, thank you, moderator. I will answer the question from group 3. Number 2, what is the best types of digital resources between information resources and presentation resources? Okay, in my opinion, the best types of digital resources between information resources and presentation resources is presentation resources. Because in presentation resources is more fun than information resources. Because in presentation resources use a recorded computer screen activity with or with explanation, a recorded or with a voice over and slide. So it becomes fun in learning and students will be more interested in learning. Okay, group 3, did I answer your question?
Yes, thank you, Elra.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Elra. The last question from group 3. What are the advantages of digital resource? So the first advantages is digital resource can be more challenging to update than, say, a reading list. And then digital resource can take longer to review than, say, can be quickly skimmed. And video clips can degrade over time unless they are saved in specific formats that require particular software. And then additional work may be required in order to make the materials accessible to those with disabilities, like providing scripts. And then the last one, technology problems and the need of expensive equipment. It may inhibit students' access on digital resource. For group 3, did I answer your question?
Yes, thank you, Tiara.
Okay, everyone, we have already answered each question from all groups. Thank you for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.